If you cast your mind back to last year when Scott and I were doing our build-off series with our American colleagues, you might remember in the first episode I rolled into Haltech in this guy, and Scott was waiting there with this guy. At the time, we would have really liked this one, but it was way outside our budget. It was an expensive car. So we went with the four-door. In the meantime, we spent a bit of money on that. It's come up in value, and that got us thinking, look, if we had the money, if it was our money, which one would we actually prefer to own? The modified car or the stock classic? So today we're at London Raceway. We'll put each car through its paces and we'll decide which one's better.
For our shootout, we've picked Luddenham Raceway, a short, tight and relatively easy to navigate track located in southwestern Sydney.
Now, before we put these cars on the racetrack, there are some differences that we need to point out because that's going to affect how we judge them, right? This one is an Australian-delivered four-door R31 Ti model. So in the Nissan range, Ti was the upper class one. It got the central locking, it got the power windows, it got all of the nice chrome door handles and stuff. Then over to this one, the HR31, the Japanese delivered. It's two-door, it looks a little bit sportier, but there's probably a lot more mechanical differences than there are looks-wise. Like, I know this one looks a whole lot cooler. In Australia, this was the one that all the grandmas drove everywhere, but the main differences lie under the hood and in the gearboxes. When we first started the Skyline adventure, I described the RB30 in our R31 Australian delivered car as asthmatic. Well, you can see that's not the case anymore. The thing's had a heap of work done. It's turbocharged, it's got a camshaft, it's got the huge inlet plenum, it's got direct fire ignition, it's got all of the good stuff. Now, I describe our Japanese import as the asthmatic one. It's a 2-litre RB20, it's factory Garrett turbocharged, it's got the NICS, so the early series Nissan engine management system. Unfortunately, engine-wise, 150 kilowatts. This thing, over 300 kilowatts. Automatic transmission in this, so a built factory automatic transmission. This one, factory manual 5-speed with a clutch, so that's the pedal on the far left if you're a little bit younger. In the back of this, it's got independent rear suspension and a limited slip diff. Over here, we've got a live axle diff and a diff that is a lot more limited than this one. You would argue that it's a full locked diff, so this one's going to get a whole lot more drive and spin both wheels every time. Over this side in our Australian delivered one, remember we kept the factory RB30 cylinder head, only one camshaft, but we had to take out the air conditioning in order to fit our massive front mount intercooler. Over in our Japanese one, we've got 2 camshafts, meaning we've got 24 valves. Admittedly, more camshafts in this case didn't necessarily make more power because factory form, it's only 150 kilowatts and it's a 2-litre 6-cylinder, so 150 kilowatts. What's interesting about this one, it is intercooled from the factory as an 80s model car, which is pretty cool. It's got the hot pipe, the cool pipe that's supposed to come from the intercooler as cold air, but the intercooler in this thing is about that big, which was pretty normal with sort of Nissans of this era. And if we poke right up in the corner here, you'll see the intercooler sitting there. So turbocharger's over on this side, the hot air goes down into that corner, the slightly less hot air comes back up through that pipe into the inlet manifold, and like I said, 150 kilowatts, not that impressive in factory form. This car also weighs about 1,350 kilos, somewhere around there. Over here, pretty similar, about 1,400 kilos. So the 2 extra doors don't really add that much extra weight. It's going to be a bit of a competition on the track today. Inside the HR31, this interior wins hands down. Whoever owned this car for the first 90,000 kilometers of its life has taken such good care of it. It's been preserved so well, it's almost brand new in here. It's got the factory HR31 dash that's actually got the boost gauge up there, which is pretty cool. It's got across here, soft, medium, and hard for the shocks. So it's actually got electrically adjustable dampening on the shocks. It's got our AM radio that's absolutely immaculate, and it's got, well, it's actually AM and FM, pretty cool. It's got a cassette player in there. All the factory air conditioning works, all the buttons look like it's just a really nice car. Even the funny sort of faux leather stitching that it's got, I don't know whether that's plastic or whatever it is, but it's just done so nicely. One of the other things about the Japanese import cars that all came to Australia with the factory flare position. So down the corner here, it's actually got a flare so that if you get stuck in the middle of nowhere, you've got a flare there to use to attract attention.
So, unlike our immaculate two-door over there, our four-door has seen a little bit of use. More than a little bit, actually. When we bought it, it had 300,000 kilometres on the clock. That's about 186,000 miles for those who haven't quite caught up to the metric system. Actually, to be honest, it's not really in bad condition for a car with that much use. The seats are still nice and comfortable. The velour still looks nice. The dash, some of the things weren't quite right. They didn't quite work, so we had to replace that with our IC7. And other than that, it's actually in not bad condition. Obviously, we've got an automatic gearbox here. It's still got the original tape deck as well. And for its age and for how much use it's had, it's really not in bad condition. So as you know, Scott and I put quite a bit of time into this car. We've both put our hands on it. Our sweat and tears went into it. We're very upset we couldn't do a burnout. So just in case we might have some sort of emotional attachment to this particular car and maybe favour it in this challenge, we've decided to bring in a third-party adjudicator or another set of eyes to come and help us make the decision on which one's better. Please welcome Moog from Mighty Car Mods.
Hey Richard, how you doing?
Good, mate.
Mate, I see Nissans and I'm starting to get excited. I like nothing more than just the smell of a sweaty, soy saucy, old festy Nissan interior. It's my favourite. So thanks for having me down. Someone says Nissans, I come running.
So mate, first impression, straight up, this is the first time you've seen both these cars in the metal?
Yep. The colour of this one's way nicer. The crispiness of it, it's like a more pure white. This one's obviously like JDM spec, so without actually going inside, I know the interior is going to be nicer already. I really like the wheels, obviously. The wheels are absolutely killer. So that looks great. Little GT badge over there. But see, poking out here, I see a front mount. It's clear to me that I haven't seen anything about this car, but I know you would have made it run too much power. Do I get to find out how much power it makes, or I only find out on the track?
Let's wait.
Let's wait.
See what your impression is. A seat of the pants.
Super clean though. Excellent wheel choice again. 4-door versus 2 doors. You know, practicality versus street cred. I think it looks great. I think you've done a great job. I just can't get past the colour of that. The colour of that is just. I don't know if there's style points, but so far. I love the BBS wheels, but the style points for the colour and the 2-door alone is going over there.
So that's one to the 2-door?
So far,
okay.
Yep.
Well, I suppose we better get on track.
With the first impressions out of the way, we wanted to get a feel for both cars on the track, especially for our Project R31, which required some instructions before hitting the track.
First things first, you'll notice it's an automatic transmission.
Right, put it into D and go.
Yeah, so it doesn't do that.
Okay, good.
So P's for park.
Yes, it is.
R's for race. No, it's not. Hang on, R's for reverse.
Okay.
N is still for neutral.
Great. I'm not shocked yet.
1 is for gear 1.
Yep.
2 is for gear 2. D is for gear 3.
Great.
Not terrible.
Okay.
Have to put it in 1 to start. It doesn't shift automatically as the name suggests.
Okay.
So it's a manualised automatic.
Got it.
And then the second part that's a bit weird is that it's got a stall converter as well.
Okay.
So if you end up accidentally having it in 3rd gear and then trying to go, you end up cooking the transmission.
Okay.
So we always want to try and be in the right gear. And we don't really want to go from 2nd back to 1st.
Okay.
Once we're in 2nd, unless we're stopped. That's probably the reasonable thing to do.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry to give you all of these rules, but the first thing we have to kind of probably identify is that when you're making 350 kilowatts at the wheels with an automatic transmission.
How much does it make? Sorry? I know the guys didn't want to tell me.
Yeah, 350
350. Okay, all right.
So
I have some experience with that kind of power in a dirty white Nissan because I believe you tuned my 240Z at 330 kilowatts at the wheels.
Same conversation. I remember thinking, mate, it's probably too much power for this car.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And so I would suggest that this is probably, sorry internet, too much power. Is this too much power for this car? Just say it, Scotty. Just say it.
I don't think this is going to be ideal.
He doesn't want to be quoted as saying it has too much power.
And
considering your t-shirt says page up for power.
And the truth is, I wanted to do a lap with you first to show you like the instruction manual of how to drive the thing.
Okay. And
to kind of just make sure that a wheel's not going to fall off or there's no trouble where we're driving. So that gives you my level of confidence.
Have you upgraded the brakes? It's got proper brakes.
It's got brake pads.
Okay. Well, I can tell already the seats are not seating. They're not doing their job. But I can kind of try and hold myself in like this.
We need something a bit more buckety, don't we? Okay, so that seems all right.
I'm just going to say it. It feels like a nice car, but it feels frightening at the same time. It feels right on... It feels right on the edge of its anger. Do you know what I mean by that? It feels like give it a couple of beers and it's going to start a fist fight.
Yeah, interestingly, the auto takes takes that boost, the thing out of it, so it doesn't just immediately step out.
Yes, yeah. Feel my face pulling back. Yeah, Bill. All right, I'm excited. Does the seat work? Oh, that's good. Yeah. Believe it or not, Scotty, I've got to bring it forward a little bit. All right, brakes is what I'm interested in. To see how.
I think I just used them all. We just did a lap, so they're gone now.
Actually pretty good. I mean, at 30 kilometers an hour.
So these are the calipers that we used to use in all of the Datsuns back in the day when we would make, say, 250 kilowatts in a Datsun. You would use these brake calipers as the conversion.
The power does come on, it feels quite similar to my Fairlady actually, like there, where that moment that it comes on feels quite similar.
Very RB-like.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Oh, you're a little bit more...
So that's when we go up into D at that point, correct?
Spot on. Okay. You're a little bit more spirited than I am.
Oh, that's why I'm here.
Well, I know what's in this car.
Don't say that. All right, here is my, I'm not a car reviewer as you probably know, but here's what I think. It is absolutely comfortable in a straight line. Going around a corner, it actually feels surprisingly good. The seat is useless, I'll stand by that. I have very limited confidence in the brakes, but I have a lot of familiarity with the actual power and how the power comes on. And certainly when you punch it on here, like this, it's coming on now. There it is, bang, and we're into D.
Oh no,
third gear.
He's taking D around the corner.
And now, yep, back's coming out a little. There go the brakes. And we're going to go down into second, gently. All right. Comfort, good. Seats, useless. Brakes, frightening. Power delivery, beautiful. Beautiful. Do you want to leave it running?
Yeah, probably just for a minute to let those 300,000 kilometers just think, what in the hell just happened?
Well, our Project Awesome certainly got some mixed first reactions. I was really keen to see how the purity of the JDM Classic compared to our modified daily.
Oh, this is the purity that I came for. This is the purity that we want. How much nice is the interior?
It is so nice.
Look at all these fancy buttons. Little chrome things.
Move the seat forward.
Look at this.
After Scott's been.
Yeah, I had to do that after Scott had been driving that one actually. All right.
So word of warning.
Okay.
I've never driven around this track before.
Okay, good.
And I'm also not very fast.
Okay, that's fine. They're actually, there's nothing wrong with that. I would actually rather hear that than I've driven this track many times and I'm very fast. So you're saying the right things. This feels surprisingly planted for a car that's this old. It doesn't feel floaty or cloudy at all.
Yeah, and we've got it on, well I put it on the hard suspension. It's got electronically adjusted suspension.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Before its time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Power's good.
It's okay.
already there's a massive difference with these seats. I don't need to be holding on. I mean, I can hold on, but I don't need to. So, all right, you're driving a whole lot faster than Scotty was.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
It's very easy to drive. Like there's no push in the front end going around. Like that was a pretty sharp corner there.
Yes.
I didn't feel like the front end was sliding out at all. It's not squirrely coming out of corners. Like it does kind of, if you really get on it, it'll a little bit of a wiggle, but it's not.
Yeah. Nothing that's surprising though. I think what you don't want from a car when you're going fast, you don't want surprises. You want to be able to understand what's going on with it.
And just want it to be smooth, and yeah, so you say no surprises, nothing to jump out and bite you.
Yep. I know when I first started racing my Lotus Exige and it wasn't set up properly, it kind of had the wrong rake, and I was out at Sydney Motorsport Park and you'd kind of hit a corner and you'd go around a corner not that fast at 80 k's an hour and the car would just spin around. It was frightening.
Yeah,
and so
right.
Once it was set up properly though, you feel like you could attack the corners with some confidence, and I think that's what it appears already as a kind of a passenger in this car. It feels like it exudes some confidence. Oh. All right, bring it in. I want to get behind the wheel. I'm getting excited.
All right,
I'm getting too excited. I need to calm down. This car does not feel its age at all. I know I keep saying that. That is just, I'm just shocked at how tight everything is. It's amazing.
Well, it hasn't been used very much.
How many Ks are on this?
Is it 60, 80?
80,000.
80,000.
Every JDM car has 80,000 Ks on it, if you noticed. All right, first impressions. Smooth. I'm just thinking yacht rock, you know? We're sailing away. Feels like we're heading along a beach road, off to meet some friends with a car not as cool as ours. The clutch is beautiful.
It is.
It's got, see, I've got to be careful because I'm not a car reviewer and I don't want to come out with these cliched kind of things, but again, there's some kind of predictability about where it grabs right there, you know?
Yep.
Back end came out a little bit there at not much speed, so who knows what's going to happen later. Can I give it a little stick up the straight?
Sure.
Yeah, these brakes are not going to stand the test of time. And the back end was coming out that whole corner. Did you feel that? So I'm pretty sure if I drop the clutch now and turn, the back's coming out. Yeah. So, but at least, you know, a car that I've been in for 2 minutes, at least you know that's when it's going to happen. Like, yeah, you can feel that that's happening now.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, here's my impressions. This is the this is not a track car, but a great car to cruise around in, weekend car, take it to meets. We're not going to be able to hit like epic lap times in this car with the ability that I have as a non-professional reviewer, non-professional race car driver, a weekend warrior, whereas the other car is definitely going to inspire more confidence, but also feels like it probably has a little bit too much power for it to be truly fun in that way, which I know we're kind of reticent to say because you guys have made it make that much power, but I think now it's probably time to take them both for a spirited drive and then
I think so.
Give our conclusions.
By spirited drive, we actually mean timed laps. So the pressure was on, and I have to say, getting into the HR31, I did feel a little bit stressed.
Tell you what, I am just not comfortable in here. 2 reasons. I'm pretty big. Second reason is that this car belongs to the owner of Haltech. And I don't want to have to call and explain to him why it's in a ditch or thrown all the con rods out of the engine. There's the 4-wheel steer. Oh. I'll try 3rd gear through this one. This is the one that Blair went through and it got very squirrely. Oh, it feels so weird. It'll Be gentle on the brakes through here. Oh, that four-wheel steer is something else. You can feel it. It feels like it wants to twist in the back, but then it just doesn't. Oh. Back on the main straight, the part that I like. I think I'm happier just going straight.
All right, hot lap, here we go. All right, here we go. Smooth is fast, fast is smooth. Corner one, already the back's coming out. Far out. Alrighty. I've got a feeling it's going to be a little bit messy, but I'm going to do what I can to get around in one piece. Oh, the back is just sliding around all over the place. Far out. It's just a mess. It's so sketchy. It feels like the back's just going to come out at any moment. Oh, and it doesn't have the brakes to back it up. There goes the back again. All right, so the back's going to come out again around here. Yep. There goes the back again. Trying to use all the track. Trying to get whatever grip I can get. Go wide on the last one. Into third. And going over the line at 110 k's an hour. All right, there it is. Oh, that does go.
As we briefly exchanged notes, it became obvious that the HR31, as beautiful as it is, was really getting out of shape when we started pushing it fairly hard. Was it time for Project Awesome to shine?
beautiful feeling car. Well done, boys. You've done a great job. A lot of fun to drive as well. Really, really good. That was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me down here, by the way. That was freaking awesome. Can you come and drive some stinky old Nissans? Yes, I can. Thank you very much.
With the time-lapse done and dusted, it was time for the final comparison, the straight line acceleration.
All right, so we're gonna do this on the third beep, okay? Beep, beep, go. Absolutely no chance. Domination. It did get a little bit loose though. It did get a little bit loose.
Okay, so the numbers on paper say one thing, but we rarely choose cars based on numbers and stats. Instead, it's all about looks and feel. So, what did our independent adjudicator think?
So after driving both cars, here is my verdict. Obviously this car here, it's JDM, it's got the purity. I absolutely love the color of it and I love the seats. Over here, this has the fun factor and the power, but there can only be one winner, and I'm giving my vote today to Awesome. The car is beautifully built. The car is really predictable. The guys have done an absolutely fantastic job. For a car that's making that much power, it is absolutely beautiful to drive. And I'm all about making things the way that they should be, whether it's kind of, whatever it is that you're modifying, the boys have made this something that kind of has really ticked the box for them with what they wanted for a car. Now, the weekend has 2 days. It has a Saturday and a Sunday. If you could, of course, you'd take this one to your Saturday track days. You'd take that one cruising. But my vote is going to the Haltech boys with Awesome, so well done.
Now that we're coming to the end of the day, I really feel like I've had a really good experience with the HR31 and the R31 Skylines. And on the drive here this morning, the truth is that I thought that I was going to like the Japanese two-door car more. It's probably got a place in my heart a little bit because when I was growing up, you know, I had sort of Cordias and X's and all this sort of cars, and one of my mates at school had a HR31 and I just remember it being the coolest car. But then as the day's gone on today, I've started to realize that this thing, with the tires, with the suspension, with the power, it drives so good. It drives way better than I could have ever imagined. I wanted to hate the auto transmission using it on the track. The truth is around here, you use second and third gear, it drives really well, and the converter for me even helped me a little bit, and we actually got some pretty good lap times. The truth is, I'm a little bit nervous about the HR31, and I'm starting to realize that the more that these older cars are becoming a lot more valuable, they're probably losing a bit of the luster for me, because I like to drive the cars and I like to give them a hard time, and if something breaks, I want to be able to fix it. So that's why I'm thinking that the Australian delivered R31 for me, it really ticks all the boxes, and I'm even excited about driving at home because on the street, it drives great as well.
So coming into today, I thought that this car was going to be my pick. It's used less, it feels newer, it's nicer. It hasn't been mucked around with. Sometimes when you get into modifying cars, you take out the drivability, you take out just the niceness of them. And this one has all of that. It has that niceness, but it's also lacking a heap of fun. The four-door, however, it's got more power, but it's not too much power for the diff and the tyres. The gearbox is actually really good. I thought I was going to hate having to change gears with the auto, but it's not. Around this track, it really works. I thought that this car would be better behaved on the track. You know, as we talked about today, I'm not a track driver. I've driven on tracks before, but I haven't done any training or anything like that. And I thought that this car would be more predictable, and that car would throw the back out. And it was the other way around. This one was the one that had the tail end, and it was difficult to drive. So which one would I own? Well, this one would be nice for a Sunday drive. This would be great on the Great Ocean Road or something, as Moog and I were talking about. That one, however, that's a muscle car. 4 doors, it's got grunt, it's really fun. I'd have to pick that one. In the competition between purity versus perversion every day.
Thanks for having me down, man. It was awesome to be here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. I bet you didn't expect to have that much fun when I said, can you just come down and drive an auto R31 around the track?
Well, what I didn't expect is that you were moving into the suspension business doing tuning and checkups. That's because I hadn't seen that tab on the Haltech website. The setup's beautiful. Well, how did you do it?
I watched a couple of YouTube videos.
Yes, you did.
I learned a little bit about droop. I learned a little bit about where the shock wants to sit and not to just sit on the bump stop the whole time.
Yep.
And that's kind of it.
Yeah. And Richard, well done with your driving today, man. You did well. I got to say, I was a little bit worried when I saw you burling up the straight. He's about to put the brakes on. Is he going to put the brakes on? Hold on. Is he put? No, they're still. Oh, now they're on. But you got around there, and that car, it's planted around the corner, isn't it?
Good.
Unlike old mate.
When we drove that car around, we talked about it being predictable, and when we could feel when it was going to lose the rear end and stuff like that.
Yes.
That car, I just didn't feel like it was going to happen.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Much more confidence in this car.
When we were driving slowly, I spoke about the predictability of that. And I went, look, you know when the back end's coming out. At speed, that was out the window. Any sense I had of thinking I knew what was going on was gone with that. So anyway, a whole lot of fun. Thanks for inviting me down. You can invite me down to drive stinky Nissans anytime you want. If it's a Subaru day, you can get Marty. I'll probably be out. But if it's stinky Nissans, I'm in. Thanks again, mate.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching today. I've had an absolute ripper of a day hanging out with the guys, getting to race cars. There's not a better day at work, really. Thanks so much for watching the series. My name's Scott.
I'm Richo.
I'm Moog from Mighty Car Mods. By the way, if you're on this channel and this is one of the first videos you're seeing, you're missing out on a whole lot of really, really awesome stuff. So have a look at the Haltech channel, drop them a like, hit the subscribe and have a look, because there's some awesome builds happening on that channel and some really cool cars, including some of the Mighty Car Mods cars that they've done features on. So make sure you check it out and see you next time.